He's done like 19.
It couldn't be the pulse itself. Oh shoot, because it would have popped off with just only 50 or 60. It seemed kind of strange that my flashlight wasn't working 1 second and the next minute it's working. You know?
Honestly, working better, yeah.
Working better. That is strange. So you said there's a TikTok app recording that contacts motion.
It monitors motion. Just a minute, huh?
Motion.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. It seems kind of strange that somebody just dropped a bunch of paint right here.
Alright, welcome back, everyone. So, in request by Lothaire Mordred, Gothic Republican, as many on my channel know him as, he started doing ghost hunting videos and wanted me to take a look at them through a skeptic perspective and be skeptical. He wanted me to do that. So one of the things that, and I will leave links to his videos in the description, so if you want to look at them yourselves, you can do that. I will finish on a positive note on this. So, but not probably the one that wants, like, or the one that Lothaire wants. So, now there's orbs in his videos, and those are been explained time and time again. And I could actually illustrate or demonstrate, recreate the effect of orbs. And all I would really need to do that is a nice dark night with some very dim light, and I can recreate that. I don't have the time to do that right now, but another thing that he was using in his videos is this little app called Necrophonic that caught my attention. And I would think that there'd be a lot more people playing with this app and sort of skepticizing it and saying, hey, this is how it works. It's not actually channeling the dead, blah, 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 blah. But surprisingly, there's not a lot of skeptic review on this app. I only found one tiny little channel. I think it's smaller than mine even, of an atheist playing around with this app. And it certainly is a fun little app to play with. It cost $10 from the Play Store, $9.99. I went ahead and spent the money, bought it, because there's not a lot out there about this. They're just, unless it's pro. It's always like, wow, look how amazing this app is. It can speak to the dead. And it's like, is that really what it's doing? Is that really what it's doing? There's just not a lot out there talking about this from a skeptical point of view. So I wanted to play around with it, see what it does. Now, a few things that I think we need to acknowledge. First of all, this is an app you can download for your phone or tablet or something like that. It is ultimately designed by software programmers, and it does what the software programmer designed it to do. And I'm guessing, since it doesn't ask permission to access the internet or your location or anything like that, I'm guessing that it's got a database, in it. And, you know, with today's technology, that database could be very, very, very big and take up very, very small amounts of space. Now, looking at it, like without even starting it, I have it here on my phone. You see that down there at the bottom, it says DR60 Sound Bank. Now, I think what that tells me is that that's some sort of thing telling, like, hey, this app has a sound bank of basically most of the stuff that you are going to hear comes from pre-programmed stuff inside the app itself. I don't really know that it picks up radio frequencies like cell phone towers or wireless phones or anything like that. I don't know that it does that. It doesn't ask permission to use these features on your phone. Now, certainly it wouldn't be the first app that does it anyway without asking permission, but that would, I think, to my understanding, be illegal. They have to have, you know, this sort of user agreement saying, hey, we're going to access these things on your phone. At least every other major app does that does it. It has to get permission from its user. At least on an Android it does. Now, on an Apple phone, I don't know that that's the case. I don't know. I fucking hate Apple products. I hate them. They are so proprietary. I can't stand it. I just, no. So I think that's interesting that on the very front of the app, it already says it's got a sound bank. Well, okay, that means that it has files now embedded into my phone of a bunch of weird sounds. So let's, you know, like there's this interesting thing on here where you can click echo. I'm not really sure what the echo does. It's like it does nothing. Let's hit start. Oh, all that does is it puts a sound effect on what it plays. Same with the reverb. So what white noise. Let's see what white noise does. That's not even white noise, that's just random sounds. Or random sound. Hello. And literally, that's the same sound. It's playing over and over again. Uh-huh. Okay, so let's turn reverb off. Let's do this white noise thing. Cool. Alright, now so I just turned on the regular function of the app. So there's no echo, no reverb, no white noise. Let's see what this thing does. Hello. There we go. I want to know if the app is programmed to sense it, like, because, you know, the phone has motion sensor in it. Because right now it's responding to nothing. I've asked no questions. So I guess I'm supposed to ask this thing, is there a presence here? Is there a dead person, a ghost? Hey, that question was for you. Is there a ghost? Is there a presence? Is there a dead person here? Respond. Sounded like one of the voices said drink. Okay, that was just okay. Cool. Okay, this is not really a response to my question. That's just somebody going like, duh. Oh, what was that? Leave it alone? Leave what alone? So a lot of it just sounds like snippets from shit that have just been put together and then like kind of choppy. You know, like clips from various videos or movies or something. Some of it sounds like it's clips from pornography. You know, you hear that Come on. Speak. Oh, it just mimicked me. It said speak with an echo. How ominous. Keep in mind, it has not answered my question. It still has not answered my question. So I guess at this point, most ghost hunters would be like, oh my god, it's a spirit around me. What's its name? What's your name? That's not a name. Come on, name. Name. Let me know if you hear a name. Speak. Hey. Like, I wonder if it picks up on key phrases like whose grave am I standing on? Who haunts this cemetery? Cemetery. Old house. Now I'm just going to make up a name. Hey, Bob, is that you? Bob. Trying to speak to Bob. What about Sharon? Can we speak to Sharon? Does it change to a female voice? Sharon, is that you? Sharon, we're trying to communicate with you. Okay. You're not getting anywhere with this app. I don't... This thing doesn't do anything. Except mummer a bunch of nonsense. That's... I mean, I suppose if you're looking for something, being a pattern-seeking animal that we are, eventually you're going to hear something that is similar to what you want to hear, and your mind just sort of kind of fills in the gaps. That's how I think this app works, is it basically just makes a bunch of weird, eerie, creepy sounds that are disjointed and discombobulated, and because it's disjointed and discombobulated, it seems like it's making sense when you know, especially when your fight or flight mechanism is kicked in and your adrenaline is pumping and you want to see something or you want to hear something. Okay, that's just getting annoying. So, you know, with all this disjointed stuff going on in the app, it's really easy, if you're looking for something, to hear a garbled mess of nonsense and think that that is exactly what you want to hear. Unfortunately, like, as I've illustrated, you do this without any fear and you look at it from an objective standpoint. It's like, well, this is just regurgitating nonsense. It hasn't answered any of my questions. It didn't respond like that. The most I got was when I said Bob. I don't even know a Bob. And it, you know, it had a male voice. It's like, okay, you know, I say things like cemetery or old house, and then, you know, like more voices come on. But none of them really say anything. It's just a bunch of garbled, discombobulated nonsense. There's nothing that's just like has a complete sentence. I suppose it's all in good fun, like if you want to sit around and play with it like a Ouija board or something like that. There's no harm in it. None whatsoever. It's all harmless fun. Like, I think if you want to go out ghost hunting and do all that, it's just all harmless fun. But when it comes to providing evidence of the afterlife of ghosts, usually the ghost hunters always fall flat in the argument against the eyes of a skeptic. The best argument that ghost hunters have presented that seems to be hard to debunk, which is, it's not really so hard to debunk as it is that it can't be replicated. It's this sort of anecdotal first-hand experience, you know, like, well, I was there, I saw it, I know it was real. Well, okay, we're just supposed to take your word for it, I guess, at that point, but that's how a lot of the ghost hunters do things, is like, you don't understand, I was there, it was real, I saw things, you didn't see it, you weren't there, blah, 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 blah. And then usually when skeptics go and investigate, they don't have the same experience. They come up empty-handed. So it's like, well, I mean, I can't really say that your experience or your perception is wrong because that's your perception. But, you know, we go into the same place, we do the same things you do, and we don't get the same result. We don't find anything. So that's the best case argument that they give, is anecdotal. And it's like, well, I mean, I don't know if that's a logical form of reasoning, is anecdotal arguments. But, I mean, you can't disprove it. You can't prove it, you can't disprove it. It's... But I mean, I can say this, I can point this out to you, is that there are more human beings that are dead than that are alive today. With 7 billion fucking people on the planet. There's still more people that are dead, who have died, than are alive at this very moment. And that being the case, being that it's a vastly larger amount of people that are things that have died than are alive, you would think that there would be ghosts on top of ghosts on top of ghosts on top of ghosts. They'd be fucking littered everywhere. And that's just not what we find. That's not what we find. And another thing I find very, very odd is that ghosts are almost usually always predominantly white. And it's like, okay, well, there's Native American people that have died around here. There's, you know, certainly colonists that have died around here. There are, you know, Asian people, Hispanic people, Latinos, whatever. I mean, just almost every creed that exists has died, but yet, you know, it's like, mostly it's like these white people ghosts. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. That seems vividly unrealistic if ghosts were to actually exist. That the majority of them are always, well, I mean, like, very seldomly do you come up with one that's a different ethnicity, but they're almost always white. And it's like, well, I think that's because they don't exist, and I think the people who want to seek them out are usually predominantly white, and you get this idea of what it is that you're looking for, and it becomes a thing. But I will say something good did come out of Lothaire Mordred's videos, because, like, even though I don't believe in the supernatural, because there's no evidence to support it, and any evidence that has been brought forward is not something that can be explicable by other means and alternatives, something good came out of his videos. Apparently there was somebody at the place that he was looking at that died, and their family was trying to sue the place for some sort of wrongful death, and because he uploaded the video, it gave their lawyer the ability to sue them, to complete the suing process, because he was able to show that he was able to get into this place without actually breaking into it. And noticed that they took down all the security cameras and safety measures to keep anyone from falling off of the train tracks and into the ravine. So it actually ended up being used for something, really good. Now, as far as the ghost hunting goes, like I said, that's all in good fun. You're not hurting anyone. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I just got finished having a conversation with just another YouTuber. I was talking to them about pseudosciences. This is just a branch of pseudoscience. The only time I would have a problem with this branch of pseudoscience is if you were going around charging people to take your little Necrophonic app and oh shoot, and go and record orbs and stuff, and scare the hell out of yourself and other people, and then charge them a whole bunch of money for doing absolutely basically nothing except having a good laugh at your own fear. Or sort of a roller coaster ride, I guess. But, there's people out there that do that. Ghost hunters that think that they're so illustrious that they get to take advantage of people in these situations. So I was talking to just another YouTuber about pseudosciences, and this one just isn't dangerous enough for me to care enough to attack it. Like, the perpetuators of sour honey that say that sour honey can cure you of cancer. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that sour honey is nothing more than glucose molecules, and the particular type of sour honey that they're talking about, the honeybees are using a flower that grows indigenous to the area that these bees come from, and that's what gives it its sour flavor and has nothing to do with medicinal purposes. And that if the claim were true that glucose molecules could cure cancer, then no one would have it because the majority of the population consumes glucose. So no, there is no reputable information to substantiate that glucose molecules cure cancer. None. This is fictional. This is a placebo effect. It's pure bullshit. And anyone selling you $100 a vial of sour honey because you think it will cure you of all these different ailments, you've just basically flushed your money down the toilet and ate sugar. Sour sugar. That's what you did. We've looked at honey under microscopes and everything to see if there's any kind of chemical difference, even in sour honey, and this proclaimed sour honey, to see if there's a toxicology that we could bring back to say, hey, this has a legitimate claim. We haven't found that. What we find is fucking glucose molecules. The sugar. It's sugar. Nothing more. The other thing that I found deeply disturbing is recently I found out that there are hospitals that have aromatherapists, and they provide aromatherapy treatment as an alternative to pain management. And I saw this documentary of this nurse who, you know, she gives them a little vial of lavender oil to sniff. It is basically the alkaloids of the plant. It's the oil, the juice from the fucking plant. And it's like, here, you know, smell this. Does it yeah, it smells good. But there's no neurological impact that shows that, you know, it does anything to pain receptors in the brain. And then this nurse comes out and says, well, yeah, I know it's the placebo effect, but that's every medication. No, it's not. No, it's not. What do you think toxicology reports are? So it deeply bothered me. It bothered me on a deep level to think that in hospitals, there's aromatherapy nurses certified to do this, to go around and have people smell oils of flowers and plants, just smell them, and this somehow does something. It doesn't do anything other than smell nice. I mean, maybe it could be relaxing, I guess, because you like the smell, but other than there's no medicinal property to that. And to say that you know something is a placebo effect, and then to turn around and say that that's what all medication is, no, that's not true. Anesthetics work because they slow down the nerve impulses, either in a localized area or to your entire central nervous system. Pain pills, they block receptors in your brain that interpret pain. Sniffing flower juice doesn't do this. We know that. This is not mysterious. It's not some medical marvel. We understand a little bit more about how the human body works than that. If sniffing flower juices worked, we would have not stopped at the plague, because they did that during the plague. They put patchouli in their mask and in their weird, you know, beaks. They had the plague doctors. That long beak, they would put patchouli in it. So if that kind of logic worked, we'd still be using that strategy. But it doesn't work. And actually, the reason I thought they put patchouli in their beaks is because it was to help them with the smell of rotting corpses, because it stank. So then there's also the three doctors. I don't remember the name of the third, I don't remember the name. Well, there's Dr. Butar. He's become known because of Thunderfoot. He's one. He's a chiropractic, which is hardly a medical. That's if you go over to Europe, that's not a medical discipline. That's pseudoscience. It's very well known in Europe that is a pseudoscience. Cracking your bones, your joints, has almost no medical benefit. None. It might be relieving for a little while, but it doesn't resolve problems. In fact, it can create problems. So it's not used as mainstream medical science over there. Only here in America is it still viewed as some kind of legitimate form of medical treatment, which is really bothersome all by itself. But when you have a chiropractic that's overusing their supposed doctor's degree to inject people with hydrogen peroxide, and then people try to sue him for malpractice of wrongful death, ends up dodging it and saying that it's not his fault because they were dying in the first place, that the treatment just didn't work. Well, they probably died because you injected them with hydrogen peroxide. That's not meant to be injected. That destroys blood enzymes. Like, actually, I learned this I'm not going to tell you how, because it's weird, it's disturbing, it's fucked up, but I have a mortuary science friend, I had, some things that had a smell of death on them that I couldn't get rid of. I tried, dousing a pair of keys and some bleach and rubbing alcohol, and that smell didn't go away. And he told me, no. You either want to put it in a Ziploc bag and leave it out in the sun, or use hydrogen peroxide because it destroys the blood enzymes it's creating that smell. The hydrogen peroxide worked. It's not something you should inject, but this Dr. Butar is not the only doctor that has been injecting patients with hydrogen peroxide. It's also been a doctor in California. I don't remember what his particular title is, like what branch of doctor he is, or what his specialty is. There's a dietitianary doctor that's doing it too. I forget what state he's from, what his name is, but that's at least 3 doctors that have administered a hydrogen peroxide injection. This is where society is going, where we're injecting chemicals into our body that are not meant to be injected. This is really troublesome, that when I see hospitals that are taking on alternative medical beliefs, you think Big Pharma is a problem. Well, it's a real big problem when people don't understand how medicine works. And I mean, most doctors, I think, if you complain about Big Pharma, will agree with you that they'll tell you insurance controls everything, and it pisses them off, because they'll sit there and say, I know you don't need an x-ray, I know you need an MRI scan, but insurance companies want you to take the MRI or the x-ray before the MRI. That happens, and that's because of the insurance company. The doctors know that's not what you need. It's just they're following the directions of the insurance company. But when you sit there and you say that, like, what's a good example? It's like, if you get exposed to rabies, you need a rabies shot, or you're going to become violently ill. But when you have these anti-vaxxer people, it's like, what the fuck do you do then? You have to acknowledge this person's stupid, idiotic beliefs. And I mean, I think doctors were willing to do that before. Like, okay, I can't force you to take, I don't think it was ever like that. I can't force you to take a shot, but it's getting to the point where more and more people are believing in this anti-vaxxing nonsense, and we're running into some real problems because people have an irrational fear. And the only one that I would really subject to scrutiny is the flu vaccination, because it's a guess of how the virus mutated this year. Most of the time they get it wrong, sometimes they get it right. So sometimes the flu vaccine is effective, and most of the time it's not. And then you have people like me, where genetically my immune system seems to adapt to the flu very, very quickly. And so getting a flu vaccination does nothing but make me sick, whereas if I don't get vaccinated, I just don't catch the flu, even if I'm surrounded by people that have it, because my immune system does a good job at building up an immunity to it anyway. So I need to do it naturally rather than through an injection. So that is a real thing. Look it up. That does exist. At first, geneticists and doctors would argue against it, but then geneticists found, like, well, it's really obnoxious. But yeah, it's true. There are people where it's like, genetically speaking, those people that are like, if I don't take it, if I don't get the vaccination, I just don't get sick. But if I do, then I get sick. And so, yeah, we exist. So these hydrogen peroxide injections, sour honey, these weird pseudosciences that are making aromatherapy in hospitals. Okay? These are, as I said to just another YouTuber, they're either dangerously stupid people or dangerously manipulative people. And to me, these are the forms of pseudoscience that are dangerous, because accidental deaths have already occurred. They've already happened. And when somebody gets out of major surgery, depending on what kind of pain they're in, I'm sorry to say, but sniffing flower juice is not going to help. It's not going to help. So I don't have a problem with people ghost hunting. Don't start charging people money so you can go through their house and, you know, my Necrophonic app. And taking pictures. I can explain the orbs. I'll do that in another video, I guess. But I want to try and recreate orbs for you so I can explain to you in real time what's happening, because it's really quite simple. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't believe. I wish you didn't believe, but I can't force you. I'm not going to. And ultimately, it's harmless. There's no victim involved. My big complaint with pseudosciences is when there is a victim. And when you're injecting people with hydrogen peroxide, there is a victim. And when you're telling people who are in excruciating amounts of pain to sniff flower juice or plant juice, there's a victim. Or when you're telling people that, you have something that could be cured by Western medicine, but you shouldn't do that. You should eat honey, and we're going to charge you an obscenely high cost for it, then there is a victim. There's no victim in going out and going ghost hunting. In fact, in this particular video, like, even though you were intending to ghost hunt, had a positive effect, is that now you have video footage that they can use in court to help a family get money they're entitled to for wrongful death. And, good on you. So, you should be proud of yourself on that one. That's actually really cool. So, we have our little Necrophonic app. This is fun. I could use this as, what is it called? ASMR? And what is it called? This is a gothic, like, ASMR, or whatever that's called. Like, I could just fall asleep listening to this. It's like, oh, it's so creepy and beautiful. It's kind of funny. I'm gonna take a dump on the floor. Just put reverb on it. Oh yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button on any channel you're subscribed to. And, well, do I leave on the political philosophy of support the idea of choices and not one's ability to impose one's will on others against their own will? Or do I end it on a skeptical note by saying something like, stay skeptical? I don't know.
Come